So it's not going to be played in the snow this time, but we do have a whiteout. We got it. We brought it to the show. For those of you on YouTube, all white jerseys in our crowd here. We got white hats. I got a white watch. Let's go.
I mean, I don't got a white watch, but I dressed the part.
Listen,
I did.
I love the whiteout. It's my favorite colorway. It's just a cool look. The white helmet. I got the white helmet right back here on the shelf.
Like, I wish they made the helmet big enough for my head. I'd wear one the whole show.
They'd have to like put two of them, like a segment of the middle of the second helmet and like glue it in between the sides of the first two helmets.
Yeah.
I got the orange mini here signed by T. Higgins.
Nice.
I wish I had it on the white one. I gotta get somebody to sign the white one. Maybe I should get Chris Jenkins to sign the white and sign a Michigan mini. Put them back to back.
You know, I'm going to be in attendance to this game for the whiteout game. So here's the thing, man. I never really wear white too much just because it's easier to stain. It gets dirty often, and I'm a person that sweats a lot. You'll see it through my arms. So even if I'm wearing like a hoodie underneath the jersey, which is not supposed to get that hot in a stadium by any means necessary, but like I don't want to see my sweat stains through my clothes. And that's the problem when I wear white. It just gets dirty so frequently. But the crisp, clean design and the look is just, you can't go any better than that. And I'm looking forward to seeing us unveil the white uniforms, the white field in the end zones, the white logo in the midfield, everybody wearing white. I'm looking forward to it. They've done an incredible job with that atmosphere the last few years.
I agree. Tim, are you going to make the trip in from Seattle for this?
I'm gonna have to check with the wife on that one, but I'm probably gonna say no. But I will be wearing all white on Sunday. It's right. I love that look. It's so crisp. It's clean. It's just, I don't know, and it's just gorgeous. It's a gorgeous look.
She doesn't like to fly, right? So you guys would have to leave right after the show, probably, to get here.
Yeah, probably. We have to leave probably about as soon as we're done. So yeah.
Right.
They need to bring back the actual white block colored, the color rush jersey with the block numeric numbers, the one that y'all two got on right now. They need to bring that back because I don't know why they decide to abandon that look to begin with. That's a clean look to go with the white jerseys. I loved them when we wore them in 2022, but then in 2023, don't get me wrong, I like the standard white jerseys, white pants, and with white socks with the white helmet. It all looks great. But I
white helmets
to bring that back.
The white helmet's the key. But I agree with you. This is my favorite white that we've had.
Yes, it looks so dope, man. It looks. I don't know what it is about the block jersey number. I'm still a fan of it.
Yeah,
it's really tough though because I'm in my kind of my fat phase right now. But I bought this in my really fat phase, so it's a little bit big. I need to.
Yeah, my jersey's big.
I need to get one more size down.
Well, see, the thing is like these jerseys, you order them in the size that you wear, and then they're too small. Then you order it a size bigger, and it might fit you. And like in my case, it's huge. Like I ordered the size bigger, and it's
Well, I ordered a size bigger so I could put a hoodie underneath it.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
All right. Hey, enough of that. Let's get to the show. Let's get some analysis going. We got the Philadelphia Eagles coming in for the white. Welcome in. You once again reached Running Through the Jungle. I'm your host, Brandon Herriott, here with the co-host, Justin, Lacey, and Tim Lyons. What's going on, fellas?
What it do?
Yo.
Yes, we are excited. We are all wearing white. If you are lucky enough to see these beautiful smiling faces on our YouTube channel. If you're not, you listen to us on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Thank you for joining us again. Hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe, that bell, rate, review, and share us with a friend. Tell that friend to tell a friend. We love your support. It's kind of our thing that gets those algorithms up and gets our name popping up there where people go on looking for Cincinnati Bengals comment. Every week we get it here to you the best we can. We appreciate you rocking with us. I know you got a lot of places out there to get content these days. So for those of you that are helping us build this brand and get more content out to you, cannot thank you enough. Appreciate it. Hey, let's start off with the, kind of the boring stuff here and get it out of the way. Injuries. Most notable for the Bengals, obviously, a knee/calf with Orlando Brown, limited practice. So he is out there doing some things. Not getting too into it, but is doing some things. Joe Burrow, once again, is listed as a full participant with a right wrist injury. I love that. Chris Jenkins' thumb, full practice. Geno Stone did not practice with a shin injury, but does not look to be as catastrophic as we thought. And he could possibly come back. I don't know if I'm not putting a whole lot of hope on him coming back for this game, but the fact that if not, he'll probably be back the following week. That's great. Trey Hendrickson did not practice today for personal reasons. Don't seem that to be a big deal. Thoughts on any of our injuries and what we got going on?
Only thing that really stands out for me personally, as I'm going to be monitoring alongside with the Orlando Brown news, is Geno Stone. Really, I'm going to just really monitor his progress. He could play this upcoming Sunday, but if he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. I do believe in the depth guys behind him as far as like Dejon Anthony, Jordan Battle, even though Jordan Battle is more of a Von Bell replacement instead of a Geno Stone. You need a center fielder guy. I think Dejon Anthony is up for the challenge if he has to step into a starting role. And I think that you should be happy with that. Starting to get some of these young guys in and let Geno Stone heal up, because even though it wasn't as serious as what we thought it was when it came to the initial injury, we still want to make sure he's healthy and ready to go for the rest of the stretch, assuming that his play continues to rise, because it's definitely struggled during the early part of this season. And he's somewhat rounded in the form along with the rest of the defense. And I just think that you don't want to rush him back if he's not ready. But at the same time, he knows his body better than anyone else knows himself. So I think that that's the one that I'm going to be paying attention to. Everybody else is just really, it's just there.
Yep.
Yeah, including the troll job of Joe Burrow being listed as full participant with the wrist injury.
It better be all 18 weeks. It better be.
Right.
Tim, I know Orlando Brown Jr. is definitely somebody you've got your eyes on there. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm just watching, like the Cincinnati Bengals coaches like to say, well, we're just going to go day by day, see how everything goes, kind of keeping the
straight coach speak on us.
Just kind of keeping an eye out on Geno Stone and Orlando Brown Jr., taking it day by day, and we'll see what happens, see if they pop up as, out or if they're going to participate in Sunday's game against the Eagles or not.
Yeah, I think Orlando Brown Jr. is no secret going to make us a better football team.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Geno Stone, and until the past 2 weeks, played pretty poorly. Like PFF graded worst safety in the league 3 weeks ago, right? So let's, yes, obviously you want him out there, but again, I'm not overly concerned. I agree with you. I think Dejon Anthony has a really good upside. I don't think it's the end of the world if we have him out there. Would I like a Geno Stone out there, a little more seasoned, polished safety out there? because of the AJ Brown, Smith, Devontae Smith, and those guys? Absolutely. But I'm not going to freak out if we don't. We got Austin's Art in the building with a Who Day. Appreciate you rocking out with us again, Austin's Art. Yeah, let's say I think the Eagles here have a little bit more to worry about on theirs. They already got one tackle on IR. They've got another Mekhi Becton now in the concussion protocol. That's going to be a touch and go situation. Dallas Goedert with the hamstring, and a couple of cornerbacks. Slay is rest, but he was also dealing with an injury last week, so we'll see with that. Ricks is also on there, and defensive tackle Byron Smith is worth noting, and let's see, Zach Bond, the linebacker. So they're a little bit more banged up than us, which is always, at this time of the year, it's a big part of the NFL, like it or not. I mean, Look at what's happened in the league right now with the wide receivers. Woof, there's some mash units out there, man.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like when it comes to this injury stuff, it's better to have I'm not gonna say it's better to have, but it's better to have injuries in the beginning half of your season instead of the ending half of your season. So, I think we're seeing a little bit more than what we're used to seeing. I know this whole Achilles thing has been a pattern in the NFL for the last 2 years. It's like, what's going on? But yeah, in the Eagles, they have that left tackle that's on the IR. So their offensive line is going to be a little. I'm not going to say what I said when we played the Patriots. They're going to be patched up. But they could. It's any given Sunday they could end up doing a good job or not.
I listen. I appreciate you not sticking your foot in your mouth again.
Yes.
No jinxies. We don't want no jinxies. But I do like the direction we got going here. When you talk about the injury stuff too, right? I think the Bengals have a late bye week. I believe it's week 11, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's after the Chargers game.
So it's right around in that area. That's a real key thing to me, right? Let's what do we look like coming out of that bye week as far as health wise? Because if we're into that second, the 2/3 of the way through the season area, coming off a bye week, getting to recharge the batteries a little bit, and not having a ton of injuries, that could bode well for us in the long run. Getting hot at the right time, which is what we did 2021, right?
Yeah, it's actually week 12 is what our bye week is.
Yeah. That's after the Chargers game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I figured. Yeah.
Gotta love it. Well, hey, enough of the boring stuff. Everybody hates this stuff. We're gonna go to Eagles matchup. Justin, I don't know if you caught Pay Dirt, but at the end of Pay Dirt, a little bit of a rabbit out of the hat here. For all those people that have caught me on the Homies program or on the Know It Alls program, we have a content provider there that we're going to have on our show. He helps out. He's been on the show several times, but does some stuff behind the scenes as well. It's actually Kevin Tate's brother, Damian Tate, who is a big Eagles fan, very knowledgeable football, all around good dude. So excited we're going to have him on tomorrow and do a little bit of a Strange Love crossover. So if you guys can check us out on there tomorrow night, we'll have that loaded up for you. And you can take a look at what his thoughts are about our matchup with the Eagles. We're going to get real deep into ours. We're not going to give him too much information tomorrow. Not that he's going to tell anybody. I just, keep him in the dark a little bit. But let's start with what we always start with, man. Matchup concerns. So, let's go counterclockwise this way, Tim. I'm going to start with you. What are the matchup concerns you got going into this Eagles game on Sunday?
Everybody's been asking me or, saying, hey, Tim, what do you think of this matchup versus the Eagles? And my response is we need to contain Hurts. We need to contain Brown and Smith. And, of course, Saquon Barkley, and protect Joe Burrow. on the other side of the ball. Last week, the Eagles went out there and they had a great game against the Giants, but again, it was the Giants. Saquon, ran for 100 plus yards. He, I think it was like 10.9 yards a carry. I think it's what he had last week. I think this is a true matchup for our defense. Has our defense officially turned the corner and, are up on the up and up? Against Jalen Hurts, he's a mobile quarterback. We have not the best time with mobile quarterbacks. And it's going to be a true test for the Cincinnati Bengals defense against their offense.
All right. Justin, agree with Tim, or you got some more things on there for you?
Look, when I look at this Eagles team overall, I very much look at them as the NFC version of the Bengals. They have a lot of the similar talent like we have. Great quarterback, 2 outside receivers, and with the addition that they have more of an explosive running game with Saquon Barkley. But I think that they have a pretty solid team overall that haven't really achieved as much as they would have liked to, in terms of they have their own inconsistencies. There's a lot of matchup concerns across the board for me here, but I'm not going to just bore everybody to death with every single one of them. But my number one concern is absolutely Saquon Barkley running just wild on this defensive line. Tim did mention that this is a huge test for the defense on the Bengals because they need to be able to show, are they really back? We've crowned them a little bit the last couple of weeks for helping us to muster up a couple of these wins here, but those were against really bad offenses. The Eagles went against them exact same 2 teams and did a little bit more production against the Division 4 with the Giants, not so much against the Browns. The Browns also have really good corners. I understand that, I spoke on here before about Martin Emerson, and it's been somewhat of a down year for him. But those guys, they know how to find explosive plays too. A.J. Brown is just a wicked dude, and he's been missing time with some injuries along with Devontae Smith. I'm looking at his stats. He has, 3 touchdowns on the year so far. I believe 324 receiving yards. Jalen Hurts, production-wise, is not really there. It's not what you saw from him 2 years ago. He has 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, but he has a little over 1,300 passing yards. But it just feels like the heart and soul of this offense for the Eagles runs through Saquon Barkley. And you know that they're the team that invented the tush push. And that's what's going to concern me to death when it comes to our defensive line. Even though we've gotten healthier, are we going to be able to officially stop this lethal Russian attack? And then on 3rd and short, you already know that they're going under I formation center and then doing the tush push. The Bengals have not shown the ability sometimes to stop 3rd and short, whether it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. They haven't really always shown the ability that they can stop the run and at least teams from being able to convert those first downs on 3rd and short, and even sometimes even 4th and short. I get very frustrated at teams are just easily converting 4th down on this Bengals front. And the Eagles, they pose a lot of threats to where that's a big major nightmare problem for the Bengals. On offense, for us going against their defense, I just worry about consistency, man, with this Bengals offense, man. I just do. The last couple of weeks, we just spun our tires and just haven't looked good. But this will be a great test for the Bengals to show, like, all right, the last couple of weeks, we were just trying to play conservatively just to not screw it up against teams that we were better than. Now you got a team that is actually really good in its own right. They've been inconsistent, as I already mentioned. Are you going to just spin your tires again on offense, or are you going to actually be consistent and actually put up points and stop with this notion that you got to let the game come to you before you can go out there and play your game? We don't need to do that on offense. We got the horses just like they got the horses. Because if we start this game off with the 3 and out after receiving the ball first, go 1, 2, 3 and out, they get the ball and then score first on their first possession. Then all of a sudden we're asking ourselves, what just happened? And we're going to be in for a long day. And then we've now set the tone for them because now they'll be able to run the ball and then just bleed the clock out. And now we're forced to play catch up from behind. So we don't want to get into any of that. But obviously the number one concern for me is the rush defense going against this Saquon Barkley, who just seemed to find new life with the Eagles. And he's living his best life right now in Philly. So that's my guy.
I'll go with Saquon Barkley. That's my biggest concern. Listen, our defense, going into the year, I think we all picked the defensive line is our biggest concern, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They struggled early, had a lot of injuries. We've seen them get back, and we've seen them be pretty good the past couple of weeks. But that was against the Giants and the Browns. Now they have to be good against Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a different, this is a litmus test to me. Do we have an average or better defense? I think we find out on Sunday. So that's my biggest concern is will they stack up? So, Tim, let's go matchup opportunities. Where do you see some opportunities with this Bengals team matching up against that Eagles team?
Wow. I know I just said something about the Eagles offensive line, it's kind of patchworked up or, they're having some injury. I don't, just delete that patchwork that I just said. They're having some injury issues on the offensive line. So I think our best opportunity is, of course, Trey Hendrickson getting in there, causing some pressures, maybe some tackle or maybe some sacks. But I think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins could really cause some issues for, the Eagles secondary as well. So, I'm kind of like playing on both sides of the ball. I'm trying to see, which opportunities are the best. I think it's going to be a good matchup on Sunday against the Eagles. Like I said, the defense is a true test, but Trey Hendrickson, I think he's going to have probably one of the best opportunities on that defensive line because of who he's going against on that left tackle side. I think Trey Hendrickson's going to be, I'm going to say, probably like the same stats he's had for the last couple of weeks, against the Browns and against the Giants. So, that matchup opportunity is going to be huge for us. But if we can protect Joe Burrow, give him time in the pocket, and they actually flip the switch and get out of first gear, it's like they're stuck in first gear in the offense. And I understand that, Chase and Higgins got a touchdown last week. Our offensive rushing game wasn't that good. It was kind of 2 point whatever yards a carry, wasn't that great. But if we can protect Joe Burrow, run the football, mix it up, give him some play actions and stuff, I think we have a great opportunity with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins having a good game. I think the last time the Bengals played the Eagles, T. Higgins had a great game in 2020. So, maybe T. Higgins' opportunity is going to be a great one. I don't know.
All right, Justin, before we flip this over to you, I do want to apologize. Mekhi Becton's actually been playing guard for
he's
the
a guard.
Eagles.
Lane Johnson is the right tackle.
Lane Johnson, so he's on that side with him. Questionable right now, concussion protocol. Before I wanted to make that correction before I went on. He was listed as a left tackle on the injury report. Not correct. Go ahead. Tell us what you think our matchup opportunities are here, Justin.
Just two of them majorly. I do think that the interior of our defensive line can pose a little bit of problems now that they've gotten healthy. Again, it's not necessarily that I believe in them against the run, but the Bengals have gotten better against the Russian attacks that the Giants and the Browns both tend to lean their teams through, even though, again, they're really bad offenses that don't really move the ball so much. But the Bengals are very stymied against the run. They've become a stymied team against the run and rectifying their problems on defense as of late. Do I think it's sustainable? I don't know. I got to let time do his job on that one. All I know is that I did see the Bengals do a great job holding Derrick Henry to an amount of rushing yards until the very end of that game. But at the same time, was that because Derrick Henry was getting more carries or was it through Lamar Jackson? See, that's the hit or miss when it comes to this defensive line. But there is a couple of opportunities going against this Eagles front five, their offensive line, that you could expose a bit there. Tim, you already mentioned Trey Hendrickson. I agree. It's trigger Trey. Nothing else needs to be said about him. But my number one opportunity is squarely on Joe Burrow. The lens is on you, my guy. You got to produce, and you're going to have the opportunity to produce against this Eagles team, especially on defense, that they've also had their struggles of being able to contain here and there. Their free safety, or I believe is Reed Blankenship, leads their team in interceptions. They're not producing a world of sacks, so they're not getting a ton of pressure after the quarterback, which means that with the better offensive line, now we're also going in here with the assumption that Orlando Brown Jr. is healthy and that we'll be able to protect Burrow. But this is that type of game where I know Joe said a few weeks ago against Baltimore that he felt like he got to play perfect. Man, screw all that, dude. You just got to be Joe. You got to be Joe, the missile launcher and the killer that we know. And this is the game where you can do that. I feel like that the Eagles defense, they got a lot of names. They got a lot of names that I really liked in college, but they really haven't translated so much so into the pros like you would like them to. I mean, I know they got a Jalen Carter. He's the one that leads the team in sacks. They got Nakobe Dean at linebacker. I'm not sure how consistent he is, so to speak. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, I do like those guys. I did like those guys coming out of the draft, and I think that those guys will be really great for the future, but not necessarily for the now. They've had some struggles. They've hit in their rookie struggles a little bit with their growing pains. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the other safety, I really liked him. I really wish the Bengals would have signed him. But at the end of the day, is he really a good cover safety? I don't believe so, but he can hit. That's something he has never been shot with. And that's the thing. You don't want to bait them into trying to play their game into their strength. That's what this offense has done in these last few weeks is they put way too much respect on their opponent. They don't have Fletcher Cox on that D-line this year. There's not anymore. He's gone. He's retired. They got young guys now that they're trying to grow together. And we like the names and we like what they can do. But at the end of the day, Joe's seen and done a lot of these, been against a lot of these type of fronts before. So what you got to do if you're Joe Burrow, you got to make them pay in the air. And that's the number one opportunity that I will go with, man, is Joe, be thorough, man. Be thorough like Burrow.
You're on mute, Brandon. We can't hear you.
I was about to say, I was thinking was that my computer? Or
That's
was
a fine. That's a fine.
Yeah, we don't do fines on this show.
We don't do fines on the show? Good. I listen, engagements are expensive. I'll leave it at that. I'm glad I'm not getting fined. No, I do like what you're saying there. Oddly enough, I'm going to go with my opportunity here. Also, one of my concerns. I think we have an opportunity here to actually see what this Bengals defense looks like when it's pretty close to full strength, right? We had a couple of good weeks against a couple of bad teams. Can we play good against good teams? This isn't, to me, a great team. I don't think it's a top 5 offense in the league, but it's a respectable offense. Can we come out and play good here? I think our opportunity here is to gain some momentum and put the league on notice. If we can put together a full game here of complementary football where our defense plays well and our offense plays well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the opportunity here is to really start building some belief. You know what I mean? It's kind of an outside of the way of the box of looking at it, but I really feel like that's what our biggest opportunity is right now.
I agree. Understood.
All right. With that said, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to hear from our sponsors. If you haven't taken a second yet to like, subscribe, rate, review, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, please do so while we take this quick break. And we'll be right back after we hear from our partners. All right. Thank you for tuning back in. Running Through the Jungle is in the house. I'm Brandon Herriott here with your hosts, Justin Lacey and Tim Lyons. Austin's Art over here. We need some hurt sacks and some tackles and blocks to stop quickly Barkley Brown in that offense. 100% agree.
Yep.
Want to keep them from getting, and like Justin said, keep them from getting out to a big lead. You know what I mean? That's not what anybody's looking for in this game. We need to make sure we play. I think we play a lot better from ahead. I do like when we get into that 2-minute drill offense, though, which we spoke about, last Roaring Reactions. Will we see any up tempo? Will we see any of those kind of things? Whew.
I don't know.
I hope. I really do. I really do hope.
Yep. That's been one of my biggest complaints is, and I know Justin does too. Zach Taylor needs to learn how to keep his foot on the pedal. When we're winning, we need to keep winning, not just running these 3-and-out plays and then punting the ball and letting these other teams get this opportunity. No, this is AFC North freaking football. We need to keep the foot on the pedal. We need to keep the beatings going until that clock hits 0.
Yeah, it's listen, we need to sprinkle in runs. I'm not saying, give up on the runs or whatever, but that cat and mouse game that I talked about in the reactions as well. Like, we need to be dictating to them what they need to be doing a little bit more, and we haven't seen that. And this is the game really where I know they're going to have respect for this opponent, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to.
Yeah.
But what do? They say, "Hey, we respect you." Name somebody on their defense that's a top 5 player at their position.
You talking about for the Eagles?
Yep.
Again, they don't got Fletcher Cox back there anymore. Brandon Graham, I believe, is reserved to a situational backup pass rusher kind of guy. But
Great
he's not
player,
the same.
But he's not the same player he was.
He's not
But
the
he's,
same
but he's
guy.
not a top 5 guy, is what.
Not a top 5
No.
at his position. I don't see a top 5 guy at his position there.
Mm-mm.
I can tell you right now, top 5 wide receiver, top
Mark
5
Higgins.
quarterback.
T.
Like,
Higgins.
We got at least 2.
Yeah.
We should be dictating to them what we're going to do, not the other way around. I get it. I respect them. They play hard. They're a good team. But at the end of the day, I think we need to quit playing with fear and start playing. We are going to dictate to you what this game is going to be like. I need to see more of that attitude, not from the team as much as from the coaches, because you see it from the team when the team comes out, and then you watch the team lose it when the adjustments aren't made.
Yeah.
I watch it throughout the game. So I digress. If you want to comment on it, go ahead.
I'm gonna comment because there's one thing that what I mean, contain Jalen Hurts in this offense. They need to keep that pressure on Jalen Hurts. They need to make him make mistakes, not the Bengals having to force mistakes. They need to make him feel uncomfortable. They need to, this whole
while still containing some lane integrity.
Exactly. They need to make him make mistakes. They need to step up and make those pass coverages, but also, we're gonna be watching out for Saquon Barkley. But the thing is as we've seen, I'm not gonna say Saquon Barkley is not a top 5 running back, because he is a top 5 running back. But that top 5 running back has been hurt many, many times throughout the years. So I'm not gonna say he's gonna get. I don't ever wish ill will on anybody, but we need to make sure that we contain Saquon Barkley and we make Jalen Hurts make mistakes.
I agree. All right, let's get into some predictions. We'll do the offensive game balls. We'll start off. Justin, I'll let you go first. Offensive game ball. Offensive game ball. Did I say balls or ball?
I'm gonna do ball.
Okay. Are you gonna do a whole ball, or are you gonna do a half
whole
ball?
You split. Okay. All right.
We'll do a whole one. All right. But I am critical of Joe Burrow this season because I hold him to a higher standard than most, and as you should be. I feel like that the team, the coaching staff, does not challenge him like you should, being a franchise guy that you're used to seeing elevate this team. I haven't felt that way this season so far with Joe Burrow, even in spite of some of the numbers that he's thrown up so far this season. These last couple of weeks, I felt like that it was pedestrian effort and he's cooled off. This is the time that he needs to explode and go off. He is going to be the guy that I'm going to pick to get the game ball. Obviously, I want to be able to spread the wealth around when it comes to my selection. But for now, my center focus is Joe Burrow because he's the guy that I believe that holds the best opportunity matchup-wise against this Eagles team.
Yeah, I dig it. Tim, offensive game ball, what you got?
I'm going to go completely different off the wall. So, for the last couple of weeks against the Browns and the Giants, we're like 6 and 24 on third downs. Okay, hasn't been great. Joe Burrow hasn't been playing. Joe Burrow and the whole, I'll just say, offense has not been playing great. But this week, I'm not going Joe Burrow this week because it seems like the last couple of weeks I've been picking Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow hasn't been having 300 plus yards. So this week we're going to see a Mike Gesicki moment. He's going to actually be out there. He's going to get some passes. He's going to maybe get maybe a touchdown and 80 yards. I think we have a Mike Gesicki moment. I think he finally comes out. He says, Hey, Joe, I'm still here. Hey, Jamar, watch me gritty, baby.
I like that.
That was an ugly gritty too.
It just until the Bengals coaching staff can show that they can diversify their weapons beyond Jamar and T. Higgins.
Right.
I was nervous of going that direction because I also agree with you. The usage of tight ends has been pathetic with this offense, and Mike Gesicki should not be playing backseat to guys like Drew Sample. I like Eric Hall's potential, but he ain't ready to take the torch yet. Well, he ain't ready. He's a great blocker, but he ain't ready to be a great receiving threat.
But that's all Sample. But that's all Sample is. Sample's just a blocking tight end that we're overpaying.
But that's my point. Is that I'm trying to agree with you, understanding that Mike Gesicki is better than both of those guys right now.
Yeah,
especially Drew Sample. Drew Sample has never shown in his career that he is a great receiving option tight end.
Right.
Mike Gesicki has, and the fact that he's not getting on the field, not even getting targets when there's times where he's open, that's what's been frustrating to me, man. For real.
Yep, I get it.
I want to let you guys know real quick. If something happens and I disappear on this thing, just keep pushing the show forward. It is raining cats and dogs right now in Pittsburgh. I have no idea what's going on, but it is loud and there's a lot going on out there. So if I lose power, I apologize.
No, we understand.
It happens here a couple times a week, I think. So my offensive game ball prediction, looking at doing a little research, both of us, the Eagles and the Bengals, that is, have played the Browns and the Giants in our last two games.
Right.
Both of us have had defenses look much better because of that. They had one game where they looked pretty decent on offense. Mm-hmm. One game they didn't look very good on offense against the Browns. Sound familiar? It happens, right? We didn't look very good against the Giants as well. So I started looking at similar teams that we've to our playing style and to our personnel, if you would, that we might match up against. And I picked out the Buccaneers. Pretty good quarterback play for the Buccaneers this year. Baker Mayfield, two very good wide receivers, fair running backs. So I thought it was a pretty good comparison. Baker Mayfield was 30 of 47 for 347 and 2 touchdowns and spread the ball around a lot against this Eagles team, and they won 33-16. I feel like Joe Burrow needs to quit, this is his moment. He needs enough. I said this too a couple weeks ago. It's just got to be enough messing around. Like, put your foot down. Let's go get it. He's earned the right and deserved the right to do things like pull the coaches aside when they're leaving the field, upset about the defensive play, whatnot. But you need to understand, and I think he needs to get through, doesn't need to play perfect. He needs to play great. There's a difference. And for him to play great, like I said, he needs to fit the ball into tight windows. He needs to take more chances. He's got wide receivers that come down with those 50-50 balls at a lot better clip than 50-50. So trust in those guys too. The whole, F it, Jamar's down there somewhere. Let's get back to a little bit of that,
Right.
I'm going to pick Joe Burrow as well for my game ball here. I think he needs to have over 3 bills and 3 tutties. So I'm taking Joe Burrow. Offensive game ball. Defensive game balls. Let's go with Justin. Who you got for the defensive game ball?
Bro, it's hard to go with somebody else other than Trey Hendrickson, but I'm going to try. I'm trying to be in the spirit of being different and not go with the usual culprits that we always do. Oh man, God, this is going to be hard, but I'm probably going to go with Logan Wilson.
Oh,
I think Logan Wilson makes his impact in this game. I think that, hey, 4 years ago when he was a rookie going against the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he recorded recorded an interception that day. I could be totally wrong. I just know that that game was back and forth. It ended in a tie. The Bengals should have won that game in regulation, but they didn't. They had an opportunity to win it in overtime, but they didn't. Kind of like a microcosm of what we're seeing in this version of the Bengals right now. But I think Logan Wilson is going to go off of his experiences like playing against this team 4 years ago, and also Jermaine Pratt too. But my center focus is on Logan Wilson. I feel like we haven't called his name out very much, and I'm not going with any substance or stats off of this. I just feel like that it's about time that he needs to start taking off too. For as much criticism as I've given guys like Jermaine Pratt, we've given criticism off like Cam Taylor-Britt for being inconsistent. Well, we've kind of let Logan Wilson go under the rug a bit because he hasn't really shown up as much as he should be as well.
Agreed.
So I think that this needs to be a game where he gets challenged a bit. He is going to be responsible for covering one of the more lethal tight ends in the game in Dallas Goedert. And I need to see him play up to that level. Do not try to pass that off to a corner, to a Mike Hilton or whatnot, or to a slot blitzing corner or whatever the case it may be, or in the secondary. Do not try to pass that assignment off. Do own that and make your presence known. Make those guys fear you coming across the middle. I'm not getting that from Logan Wilson this year. And I think this is the perfect game for him to do it. So again, no rhyme or reason. It's just going off of hope. It is what it is. Hope is not a strategy, as we like to say on this show, but it is what it is. I don't care. I'm just going with him just because of the spirit of being different.
I like that pick.
I dig it. All right, Tim, who you got?
So Justin, you were correct. Logan Wilson did have
game ball.
Did have an INT against the Eagles in 2020. Carson Wentz was actually picked off twice that game. So anyways, the defensive game ball, I'm going to go, of course, with Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson's going to go in there and get 2 sacks, cause a fumble. He's my defensive game ball. There's nothing else to say about it. He's, like I said, the starting left tackle that is on the IR, he's going to be going up against a different guy. I think Trey Hendrickson goes in there, causes a little bit of havoc, keeps Jalen Hurts, on his toes. Jalen Hurts hasn't been, he's not Jalen Hurts he was a couple years ago when Brian Johnson, their OC, was there. Jalen Hurts was doing all different kinds of stuff. But ever since Brian Johnson has been gone, Jalen Hurts isn't the same quarterback that he is. And I know one thing that Brandon always likes to say is Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they used to make these climbs of, winning. But then when they got to this one part of the season, they started doing this stuff, and Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, I think, they have a great running game, but I think Trey Hendrickson's going to keep Jalen Hurts on his toes. And like I said, 2 sacks and a forced fumble.
All right.
I like, obviously, anytime somebody picks Trey. Trey's been hot past couple games. I've taken him, and it's been great for me. This game, Saquon being one of the big keys, I don't see, like, Trey, not his forte to really tackle running backs a ton. So I'm going to go with somebody I think is more vital to that. But I also think that this player can also get some push up the middle on a rush. I think he's going to get a sack, and I think he's going to get a tipped ball that leads to an interception. Give me BJ Hill.
Okay, all right. I was thinking you was going to go with your Michigan guy, Chris Jenkins.
Nope. I don't think Chris Jenkins right now, because of that thumb, I've been watching it. When they put him in, they've been doing a ton of stunts and twists. I think if you do stunts and twists against Saquon, if there's a gap in that defensive front for a split second, he's going to be by you before you have a chance to get somebody else over there. So I don't know. I think he's just going to be a hole plugger and fill in when people need to take a break, get a breath. I don't think this is a Chris Jenkins impact game yet.
Yeah.
I don't think we're quite there with him. But I think BJ Hill and I think Sheldon Rankins is going to have to play a big part in this too.
Oh, for sure. And quite frankly, man, with the work that Trey's been doing this year so far, kind of like a little bit last year, it just pisses you off that this defense has just been ranked where they were these past 2 seasons, last year and now this year. Because if the Bengals would have had a top 10, unquestioned top 10 defense, trending upward toward that top 5 defense, Trey Hendrickson will be an obvious candidate for Defensive Player of the Year on this defense because of what the numbers he's produced. But it's just unfortunate, man, because there's all these great efforts that seem like they're going to waste on bad production on that side of the ball so far this year. And I'm hoping that they can turn around and be more consistent. And
Just got to keep stacking chips, man.
Guys, stack those wins, stack those performances, man. Make them earn those hard yards. Like when I watch teams like the Steelers defense, when I watch them play, it's not that they're running these crazy defensive formations or anything like that. It's more so that they make it hard for opponents just to feel like that you can just play pitch and catch on and get great runs after the catch. It's usually a guy's like immediately right there to hit the tackle or force an incompletion. That's what this defense needs to do. Neutralize explosive plays that way.
Yeah, and those Steelers, we talked about it. Steelers and the Ravens play with the edge of violence, right?
Right.
They're not dirty by any means, but you know that you're going to get hit. You know those things are going to happen. I think we need to have more of that quick to the ball and putting pads on you. Not hands, pads.
Mm-hmm.
Come with pads.
Make them understand what it feels like when you playing in our house, AFC North football, you come into the jungle. Right now, people don't look at this Bengals defense with fear monikers and like with fear lenses in their eyes. They look at it as like, okay, well, we can expose this, we can do this. You can't do that with certain other teams in the AFC North. And you know what? I'll even throw Cleveland's defense in there because they still make it tough on opposing offenses as well. Yeah. We saw it last week.
Yeah, and they've been on the field a lot in recent weeks. So they're playing pretty well when you put everything in consideration. All right, let's do score predictions. Tim, I'll let you start this one off. What's your score prediction this weekend for the Bengals versus the Eagles, the whiteout?
Well, I hope we carry
Two
on.
fines one day. Go ahead.
I'm really hoping that we, make this whiteout game continue with a W. So I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals to win 27-24. I think it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a runaway bride game. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. They have, kind of like Justin said, or I don't know who said, Justin said or Brandon said, that the Philadelphia Eagles are like the Cincinnati Bengals almost. Their defense plays good 1 minute, their offense doesn't play good, the next, kind of like a night and day thing. And I think the Cincinnati Bengals and the Eagles are kind of pretty close to each other, but they're the NFC version of us. And, so I'm going to say 27-24, Cincinnati Bengals win.
All right, Justin, I'm going to save you for last since you are going to be at the game. I'm going to save your opinion for last. I want some hype behind it. Man, I just realized I told you to be more hype than normal. That could be dangerous. Listen, I'm going to choose this score because I'm a homer, damn it, and I don't care. 28-20, Bengals win. Take care of business. I think the defense looks pretty good. I think holding this Eagles team to 20, pretty good. I think it's better than where we were with this defense 3-4 weeks ago. And I think the offense looks good. I think the numbers will be better than the score, if that makes sense. I think they're going to leave some points out there maybe. I don't see a problem with the field goal unit as much. I know there's been holding problems, hiking problems. There's been a little bit of this and that. I think that's all going to, get itself worked out. I'm not overly concerned about that. I just don't have them scoring here because maybe it's a moving it between the hashes, kind of, or between the 35s. Maybe it's maybe it's just they don't. Maybe they have a turnover. Maybe they have a fumble again. God, who knows? But I just think this is going to be a 28-20 game. That's my prediction. Justin, the best for last. What's your prediction? You're going to be there.
Okay, so since Joe Burrow came in the league and been a part of this Bengals team, every year there is always one game that us Bengal fans, we champion so hard as we go to that following offseason. That, my gosh, you remember that game against that team when we did this. In 2020, it was against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans were 5-1 coming to Paul Brown Stadium, and we kicked their ass. And we were a 1-5 team at the time. We still talk about that game, like where Joe Burrow had all of his offensive linemen hurt, and he still ended up winning with that game. No Jamar Chase, by the way. 2021, we had quite a few games, don't get me wrong. But the number one game that we talk about the most is that Week 17 bout against Kansas City, the one that really started the whole, we're going to be the perfect kryptonite for them. And obviously, and again, in the playoffs, but that regular season game, just focusing on regular season. 2022, again, we have quite a few, but the one that we always continue to revisit as fans is the game that should have counted that never did. And that was the Monday night game against Buffalo, because that was the day that everybody and their mama knew we are here, and the Bills had no shot to win this game. We later proved it in the playoffs when we went to their house. Last year was interesting. What I always see us come back to as fans is the 49ers game on the road, Santa Clara, and we kicked their ass too in their house.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I believe this will be the game that will be symbolic of those other previous years that Bengals fans is going to resort to when trying to make sound arguments. You remember when Joe Burrow performed with that great game against the Eagles? I believe this will be the jumping off game that everybody will start to talk about. We should have had this game when we played the Ravens in Week 5, but didn't happen. It is what it is. But this, I think, that is the game that is going to speak. That it has all of the makings to feel like that's going to be the case. I am not predicting a blowout, and it very well could be on both ends. They're very identical teams in the sense of what they should have accomplished, but they really haven't. Inconsistency, well, all that stuff. But I do think that the Bengals win. I think it's a 2.5-point spread the last time I checked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got this feeling that the Bengals win, but the Eagles cover. And it's going to probably be a 31-29 weird scoregami type of game, to where we get former Bengal kicker Jake Elliott. He doesn't get a chance to go out there for a game-winning kick, because I think that probably could be McPherson redeeming himself. I feel like this is a Bengals game to where this will be the jumping off point for the entire team. It's like, look, man, we can beat anybody at any given moment. Now you got to truly watch out for us and what we really are capable for. So that's my score prediction. I hope it's a blowout for the Bengals to win.
You were getting me a little hyped up. I thought you were going to pull a blowout out. I thought the blowout car was coming up. Like, take that, silly.
See, because just like Tim always said, that every time he picked, somebody to win offense game or whatever, it just doesn't happen. Yeah, that's been the case with me too. Every time I predict the Bengals to have a comfortable win or a blowout win, they don't do it. And they haven't done it all year long. So I'm not going to do that yet. I need to see them do it before I actually predict it in the future.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is a game to where, kind of like the Chiefs in 2022, where the Bengals just owned that game. They controlled that game from start to finish. Even when the Chiefs took a brief lead, you never felt like the Bengals lost control of that game, and they were always going to win that game no matter what. I feel like that's the same thing that's going to happen here, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think you should be hard on yourself for not being able to predict what this team's going to do this year. This has been a hard team to figure out. The coaches haven't even figured this team out yet. Like, give yourself a little leeway. I think we're going to start seeing some things come around, and this team, I really do. I really think it's going to start coming back around to where we thought it was going to be. Is it going to be perfect on defense? No. It's going to have some issues. Is it going to be perfect on the offensive line? No. Is the running game going to be perfect? No. Is it going to be good enough that the things that we do great can pull us to victory? I think you're going to start seeing more of that. I don't know what the slow start stuff has to be addressed. Whatever you're doing in the off season, whatever you're doing in the preseason, all of it has to change. Throw it all away. Rather that means they're going to bring in some other coaching, bring in some special advisors, whatever they got to do.
This is why they brought in
need
Justin
to do that
Riscotti,
next year.
the passing game coordinator, Justin Riscotti from the Vikings. This is why they brought him in. And I do wanted to point out Austin's art comment here because he's saying this should be a breakout game for the Bengals this Sunday. You know, so I'm all for it, bro. I'm all for a breakout game because again, I don't want to go to a game and the Bengals lose. That's just demoralizing,
Right.
especially when you got all dressed up, everybody all.
Hey, isn't Double A an Eagles fan too?
Yeah,
Like, he's
like he's like I think he's a Bucks fan. He's a Eagles fan. He's a Bengals fan. You know, so
just loves football. Listen, I have a soft spot in my heart for Detroit, so
right.
I always have the Lions kind of as a soft spot in my heart. But I'm a Bengals fan.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. I have a lot of Bengals gear, jerseys, all that kind of stuff. I have just Megatron when it comes to the Lions. That's it.
As it should.
I got one jersey. I got one hat because that grit hat might be in the Hat Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
the grit hat might be in the Hat Hall of Fame. Maybe I'll wear the grit hat while I'm watching the game with my white jersey on. Maybe. We'll see. We'll be out. We're going to be out in Michigan. Jess has her birthday celebration we're going to have this weekend. So we'll be out watching Lions and Bengals and doing that whole thing. It should be fun. Should be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking forward to reporting back the stadium atmosphere and how everything went. I'm probably not going to be able to make our Roaring Reaction show just because I will be live in the stadium unless we're going to do the reaction show a day later, you know. So, or like I said, we'll see what happens. But
I'm going to tell you this right now, Justin. It's going to be a day later because if you're at the game and Brandon's celebrating Jess's birthday and he's in Michigan, his butt is not going to be back in time to do anything on Sunday. I guarantee you, he moves like a snail. She's going to be drunk and hungover. There's going to be no after show after the game.
Yeah, okay, then cool. Then that makes me feel better because that means I can cut loose a little bit too. Assuming we win and I feel good, and I ain't got to drink to be feeling sorry for myself. You know,
that's right. Yeah, no one wants to do that. I'm good time, Charlie. That's right.
Awesome.
All right, closing comments or anything you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
Go for it, Tim. I know you got something.
Go ahead, Justin. No, you go ahead.
I already unleashed what I need to say.
Come check out the Who Day Weekly. I had a great episode yesterday. If you were able to listen to it or watch it, I don't know if Brandon put it up on Spotify yet or not, or
it
on
goes
Google.
Up Wednesday nights now because it's just the only time I get my computer.
So it'll be up Wednesday. It'll be going up Wednesday night or
shortly.
Tomorrow morning.
Actually, I just downloaded, but I gotta put it up on Megaphone.
Yeah, I had a great episode. Actually, just let you guys know, like me doing this whole podcasting thing alone, solo. I've been trying to build up content. Yeah, it is. So I know I'm a different Tim on Running Through the Jungle than I am on Who Day Weekly because a lot of the stuff I'm trying to keep on track and keep in my mind. So I'm a little scripted on the Who Day Weekly, but I feel like I had a great episode yesterday. So make sure you go and watch that and enjoy it. Feel free to give me your feedback. Tell me something that you would like to hear or whatever. I'd love to hear that as well. But other than that, you guys have a great rest of your week. I want to say rest in peace to Fernando Valenzuela. He was one of my favorite pitchers growing up as a kid. He passed away yesterday. So, El Toro, rest in peace. And just Who Day, everybody.
Awesome stuff. And I'm cool to end it on that note because, like I said, I already got everything off my chest that I needed to say. I just won a Bengals dub.
Yeah, listen, doing a solo podcast, for those of you who've never done it or tried it, it's a different thing. It's a challenge. keeping yourself on the right pace and getting those things, your point across without rambling, muttering, and da 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 da. Tim, you've done a great job.
Yeah.
Getting better every week.
Mhm.
Good content. If you haven't checked that out, definitely do. The reason why I don't do a podcast is you would realize that there's 3 of me in here, so it would be like I was doing a podcast with the crew. It's just the way it goes down, man. It's just the way it goes down. But we appreciate you rocking with us every week. Check us out again tomorrow night, 8:30. We'll have Strange Love up. We will have an Eagles, not just fan, but very, very intelligent football mind with Damian Tate on talking Eagles and Bengals previews. So we'll be on doing that. Any of the Running Through the Jungle crew that wants to join is more than welcome to join. Who knows? We might even see the elusive Chase Youngs. You never know. You never know when he's going to pop up. We appreciate you rocking with us each and every week. Check us out. Again, we will be here next Wednesday, 8:05-ish. And check us there every week, every Wednesday as we are running through the jungle.